Welcome to E39 Source. Today we're going to be working on an E39 5 Series, finally. Replacing door handles. These little guys right here. So my reason for replacing is this is an M5 with a sport interior, and the build date on this car, as most of you have probably memorized, is February of 2000. It's an 0200 car. To check that, and it will matter for replacing door handles, open your driver's door and right here it'll say 02 of 00. In March of 2001, the door handles were facelifted on the inside, how they connect to the cable that actuates the latch. If your car is March 2001 or later, you'll have this big white plastic clip on the back side of the handle that is a lot easier, makes replacing the handle a lot easier. If your car is before March of 01, as mine is, we're going to have to do a lot more work to get these handles off. Now, my reason for replacing is sport interior E39 M5 before the other facelift, the 9 of 2000 facelift, where the headlights and taillights changed with Titan trim. All of that means that I got these door handles, which are called carbide, and they kind of look like the Titan. They've got the horizontal lines going in them. They're not chrome. Any other 5 Series or a facelifted M5 will have the standard 5 Series door handles, which are just chrome. They're half the price of the carbide handles. The carbide handles suffer from actually the same thing that the pre-facelift e-brake handle suffered from. The finish wears off. My driver's one was the worst. I've already replaced that side of the car. I'm just replacing all 4 of them while I do it because none of them were perfect, but the driver's one was the worst. So I've replaced the 2 on that side. They're the same part number. Let me get that for you. Now, again, this is a pre-facelift E39 M5 sport interior Titan trim carbide door handle. The right part number is 51212694090. The left part number is 51212694089. The only thing that changed are the last digits. You'll need 2 of each if you're doing all 4. Reference realoem.com. Type in the specifics to your vehicle to get the correct handles, the right color, the right latch type, stuff like that. So in this video, we're going to be detailing the replacement of the handles on a pre-facelift M5, how the door panels do have to unfortunately come off, and how I'm being incredibly careful because mine have never been taken off before and I have not broken anything yet. So I did the left side. These were back ordered. They have since arrived. And we're going to start with the front passenger door. Here are the tools you need. It's actually pretty simple. You'll need some sort of a pry tool. If you actually have a pry tool, that's helpful. You can use a flat blade screwdriver. I recommend wrapping whatever you use in electrical tape just to avoid scratching the paint when popping the rivets out that hold the door panel on. You don't want to scratch that. It can get wet and then rust. That's not good. So put some tape on the end of your metal. We also need a screwdriver with varying bits. I think we're going to need a Phillips and a tiny little flat blade, which brings us to our first step, which, I apologize for poor lighting, but if we look at this door handle here, see if I can get a light out, and we'll look inside, we'll see there's a screw. But the screw is covered by that little plastic cap. So we need to pop that cap out. There's an indent in the bottom of it. So I'm going to use my smallest flat blade bit. And do not lose or break that cap. They're not made anymore, and they're pretty hard to find. Here's the little cap, and at this point I'm going to add a little knife to our parts inventory. I found that was a lot easier to put in there and pop the cap off, which now on a pre-facelift car is going to reveal a Phillips head screw. Some of these I've seen Torx screws used. This is just a Phillips head. So let's remove that. Here we are, the handle now pops out. And if you have a newer car, you can simply reach back and disconnect the big white plastic clip that holds the cable onto the handle. The way this car is, being the production it is, you can barely feel back there. It's a metal hook like this that goes through the hole on the handle. And as far as I'm concerned, there's no way to remove it from here without damaging your door panel, which I don't want to do. So we're going to remove the actual door panel. No need to remove the vapor barrier, which is good. So in order to remove the door panel, let's first start by noting there is a Phillips screw right in this little vent here that goes right here. So maybe get a light, but believe me, it's right there. Take that Phillips screw out, put it in a dry safe location. Here's the parts we have so far. That's the screw we just took out, the screw that holds the handle in, and the black plastic cap that covers up that screw. So on an E39, there are no screws below the window switch. There are no screws below the trim. At this point, it's a bunch of plastic clips, and this is where our pry tool is going to come in handy. I like to start down here around this edge, put some tape on that. We'll just wedge it under there about an inch, kind of feel around and start popping off all of the plastic clips. A couple of important things to note. I'm not going to be taking this door panel more than 2 inches away from the door. I simply need to pull it out, unhook the metal hook that hooks into the handle, get my new handle, hook it into the new handle, and then reinstall the handle onto the door. I don't need to take the panel off and lean it against a wall somewhere. If you are doing that, take serious precaution that you remove your window switch carefully. Don't mark up your nice leather around here. Remove your window switch, disconnect it, put it aside. Same thing with your puddle light down here. In fact, I'm probably going to pop my puddle light out just so I don't stress those wires at the bottom. You're going to have a wire for your speaker and your tweeter, your mid, your speaker, and both tweeters, I guess, up on the top of the door. Actually, that'll stay on the door. So you'll need to watch the wire for this, wire for that, wire for your mid-range, wire for your puddle light. At this point, I'm just going to let my light hang here. It's a pretty long wire that is fed through a hole in the door panel, as we can see. But with all of the clips done along the outside, and don't worry if you break one, they're super cheap. I will include the part number for these white plastic clips right there in the description below. I think I bought 30 or 50 of them on eBay for $4, just in case I were to break any, and I haven't yet. Your panel's pretty loose. It's only held in at this point by a couple of things. It sandwiches in to a bunch of clips on the door shell up here. So if we were to remove it now, we would pull out a little bit, lift it up, and hold it aside while we install the new handle. Note that you are going to want to work over your door lock blip right there, so be careful with that. Also, this part of the panel above your trim is somewhat fragilely attached to the rest of it, so don't stress anything, don't pull anything too hard, and you'll be fine. I know I said I wasn't going to remove the panel, but for the sake of showing you guys exactly what's going on, I did. It was super easy. So the wires that I warned you about, one, it's green, it's your tweeter in the door, and it doesn't disconnect from the speaker. The wiring harness right here goes on the control module right here. It's next to your big white wire that I don't really know what controls, maybe your mirrors, I don't know. It plugs in right there. So we'll just remove that. This is your window switch wire. Once I got the door panel pulled out enough that I could reach down there, again, I just lifted it up and over the lock mechanism. You'll see this. This thing's really sticky. It's old. That keeps this part of the handle insulated from both noise and temperature and air, I would assume. So remove this, then reach inside and push your window switch up out of the way so you don't have to worry about damaging your leather. I just pushed it out of the way and removed it, and I think I put it right here. Disconnected obviously with that white connector. Then I removed my puddle light, that just pulls right off. Feed the wire through the hole, and then you can set your door panel off to the side. Of course, noting that this handle you just turn sideways and push through the hole. It fits fine. So anyways, here is the cable. You can see why it would be so difficult to remove, and it's kind of a, without removing the panel, and it's kind of a two-step process here. See, the hook goes through the handle like that. Then when you pull this, it's a bit of a lever action, and you can almost hear it moving in the door. So there's two things we need to do. One, see that green insulation around the cable? We need to pull the whole handle away and then out like that. I hope that was in frame. See how it fits in? Got to pull it a little bit. I didn't do it right there. Give it a little bit of a push, and then it's in the handle like that. That'll make it work right. If you don't do this step, it's not going to close and open the door. So you need to pull it out, and then just like that. Then you'll be able to just remove it. And here's the old handle. So reverse process is the exact same as removal. However, if you see this part right here, this is so your door handle feels tight, so the door panel feels tight on the car in the middle, since there's nothing else that holds it. You'll notice on the back of the panel here, on that metal piece, there's that black clip. That black clip fits over this like a hand. So make sure that this is properly installed, the black piece is properly installed in that metal bracket, and that when you're reinstalling the panel, you line that up and give it a swift tap and it'll seat. So I'm going to go ahead and reinstall or install the new handle now onto the old hook. Noting the proper installation of the new handle, the bottom part of the hook part faces down, and make sure that your Bowden cable there gets snapped into the black plastic just like that. You'd even give it a test. In fact, you could get in the car, close the door, hold the handle nice and tight here and pull it, and it will open up. So I mean, at this point it's another 5 minutes of playing with these clips. Make sure you plug everything in before you snap your door back on, and guide that black plastic clip over that acceptor there. Alright, I'm impressed always at how easy that is. That took maybe 10 or 12 minutes, maybe a little longer since I stopped and explained it. The hardest part is working with the door up here, both taking it off and putting it on, more so putting it on. You've really got to focus your attention here at the beginning. You lift it up, over, and then you kind of push down into it, maybe at an angle. Once it snaps there, you get it lined up over here. I had to give mine a little love tap there, and it finally seated properly under the shadow line trim here, and it fits perfectly. It's very tight. I didn't break anything. So I installed the new handle, as well as the old screw and the cover. Here's our first test. Nice. Perfect, nice solid German bud. We're now going to focus our attention here on the back door, and we're going to do the exact same process. So it's pretty much the same. The only difference we're going to run into is if your E39 has rear sunshades, which you should know based off of the little slider that you'll have here and the slider that you'll have here. A, they're probably broken because they're the worst option that was ever an option on this car, but B, it makes it a little bit more complicated to remove back here, to remove the door panel. A, you're going to have to take off this piece of trim. That's not a big deal. Get some fingers under here or a pry tool and it simply pops right out. If you've got wood, be very careful that you don't crack the lacquer in it. That's really easy to do. I think you may actually also have to remove your, what do we call that? A B.5 pillar, the little pillar here that goes in between your windows. Bobby from the channel would know more about that. Feel free to email him, bobby@e39source.com, if you run into any issues, but I wouldn't anticipate that. We don't really need to remove anything from this door, just start popping off the rivets with the pry tool like we did before, as well as of course the screw in the center of the door. This back door proved to be a little bit more difficult, and it actually was on my driver's side as well, only because that clip that I showed you on the front door that holds the handle kind of into the door, that black plastic thing, did not seem to want to come off this at all. So the black plastic clip fits into the metal part on the door, and then the black on the door panel, and then the other side of the black plastic clip goes over that metal tab that sticks out on the door shell. So I actually just pulled the door handle up and off very firmly. You need to be careful that you don't pull it too firmly and rip out the wires for your tweeter here. The only wire connections on this door are a tweeter in the door, door switch, and puddle light. So be careful with all of those. And then that left the black plastic clip on the peg that sticks out of the door. From there, I got some needle nose pliers to press the tabs on the metal clip and slid the black tab off, the black clip off, and then reinstalled it on the door. Reinstallation, same idea. You start up here, sandwich it down on, give it a press on everything here. If the material sticks out a little bit over the piece of shadow line here, which now has fingerprints all over it, do what I did. Get your flat blade knife, wrap it in heavy electrical tape so you don't cut or scratch any of this, and then just run it along in that crack and sandwich it down under the shadow line. It works really well. It's the same deal with the door handle. That works perfectly now, and now all of mine are factory fresh. Many of you guys probably think I'm crazy for replacing them. I'll show you the driver's one. It's downstairs in a clip here in a minute. It was really bad though. The only thing that differs on the driver's door is the fact that this is much larger. There's no screws any there. It's this under there. It's the exact same process. And then the back door is what I just did. So The back doors are easy aside from the clip that tends to stick on my car. One more wire you're going to have here is your seat memory switch. These are the clips I'm talking about. When I did my driver's door handle a few days ago, I noticed that some of the clips were already broken from a previous owner having this panel removed to make the window stop squeaking. These are original motors and regulators in this car. They work perfectly now, but it squeaked. So here are the old ones. I don't know why there's different colors. This is a white one. That's pretty well crunched. The yellow one looked like it would work, but it wouldn't hold. And then this green one is totally missing the part that would make it stay. So this is the bag I got on eBay for $4. Again, the part number for these things will be in the description below the video. As promised, I was going to show you that driver's door handle that is kind of hard to see, but the top of it there, the finish is just completely flaked off of it. And in the car, you really would notice the lack of material. If you see the back of it there, all of that finish just comes off. The outside edge actually looks okay. I'd say that's a 9 out of 10, but you come up here and that's a 2 out of 10. That is not good enough. So this is really the worst handle on the car. There's really not much sense in keeping it, but I'll probably put it down here in my parts inventory. I've got a huge box down here of all kinds of BMW parts. We made a video detailing the contents of most of it several months ago. Of course, that's changed. The other 3 handles, I would say that one's not even worth attempting to sell. Nobody's going to want that. This one here was the front passenger door, and it has the beginnings of the finish flaking off. The 2 rear handles, I'll be honest, they're a 9 out of 10. One of them's in this bag right here, and I have the other one over here somewhere in the parts box. They're right here. They're a 9 out of 10. My reason for replacing was I wanted a fresh set that everything was going to match. They're all new and they're all done. I won't have to touch that for as long as I own the car now. But if anybody's interested in those handles, leave me a comment down below or shoot me an email, ryan@e39source.com. That's going to wrap this up, guys. Hope you enjoyed the DIY. Leave some comments, thoughts, questions down below, and I'll talk to you in a future video. Bye-bye.